Hey guys, it's Guts, and I real quick wanted to start sharing some of my builds for Warframe. My first build I'm going to cover is the Coda Catabolyst, since I just finished maxing the weapon. So this is the main build that I'm using. I've got the status build going. You can build for crit if you want, and I have for a separate loadout slot, but I prefer to play into the status. First mod, Hornet Strike. Extra base damage is always nice, especially if you're not using secondary Merciless. Galvanized Fusion, Lethal Torrent, staple mods for any secondary, more multi-shot, more fire rate, especially on beam weapons. Fire rate and multi-shot are huge damage boosters. We've got Viral Heat 6060. I know it's basic, but it works for a beam weapon like this. It also, because of the base corrosive damage of the weapon, it also allows you to fully armor strip with heat and corrosive, and the huge amount of status chance also helps out with that. Heat damage, or primed heated charge, just for extra heat damage, multiplicative elemental boost to the damage, plus the more heat damage that you're going to deal, the more chance for heat status effects to inflict. So if you really want to play into DOTs, you could do that too. And then you've got Galvanized Shot, which is more status chance, and then of course the Gun CO, more damage per status effect. I've got the Coda variant, so I've got the Magnetic Valence boost. That's going to allow us to deal more damage to Overguard and also act as an extra status to build into Gun CO. Now, why does dealing more damage to Overguard matter? I've got secondary Fortifier on here, and the big reason is because the big QRL thing that I run into with this weapon is when you reload, you throw a grenade. That's cool and all. You technically don't have any damage downtime because of that, but because you throw a grenade, and especially the blast radius gets really big when you reload from empty, you can self-stagger yourself and interrupt your own reload, which is why I've got secondary Fortifier. Secondary Fortifier is going to steal Overguard from enemies, and the Overguard will prevent you from getting self-staggered. So that is the build. I prefer to use this weapon with characters like Zaku or Caliban, since their Void and Tau status effects respectively will add more stacks to Gun CO, or allow Gun CO to build off of that better. But it also does extra stuff. For example, Zaku's Void damage, not only can you apply it onto your actual weapons, it also creates a little bubble around enemies, which makes hitting them with the beam easier. Caliban's technically more optimal, since Tau damage allows you to inflict more status effects on enemies faster, but you have to use abilities for that. He can't infuse Tau damage into his weapons, to my knowledge. So I prefer to use Zaku. It's more of a set and forget kind of play style, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, another big reason I like to use secondary Fortifier is so that you don't have to put Prime Sure-Footed on your Warframes. I don't really do that. And with that said, I already have some enemies ready to go. See? Overguard meant that the grenade didn't self-stagger, and another thing to point out is that the grenade itself, or the grenades themselves, will steal Overguard from enemies as well. Yeah, that's the build. Hope y'all enjoyed.